I'll tell you the fight that I'm really looking forward to, because I don't know what's going to happen, is Khamzat versus Strickland. I'm very interested in that fight. Strickland is a fucking nightmare standing up.
For sure.
He's a nightmare.
For sure.
What he did to Fluffy Hernandez, I was like, holy shit, man.
The body shot, the finish, but he made Fluffy fight. You know, he fights at a slower pace. He has his own pace in there, and he kind of forces the other guy to fight. His opponent has to fight this pace with him. I think the best chance is to blitz him, do unorthodox things, because he wants to jab, circle, throw a kick, jab, circle. He keeps a very slow pace. He's not sprinting or trying to blast you out of there. He just chips away, high guard, good shell.
Yeah, very good shell. His defense is extraordinary. Man, that motherfucker doesn't get tired in there.
Right.
And the Fluffy fight was like, I thought Fluffy was going to be a problem. I'm like, Fluffy's really good, man. You think he submitted Adolfo Vieira. He's got all this fucking crazy cardio. He puts a pace on guys, and Strickland made it look like he just did not belong in there.
By the way, Khamzat, what do you think about Khamzat?
He's a great fighter.
Yeah.
He's a good fighter. Yeah.
Who do you think if him and Strickland fight, who do you think wins?
Oh, Khamzat.
I think Sean wins that.
Yeah? You think so?
Yeah, I do. I want him to.
If Khamzat literally was taken down with ease and just bullying him, I mean, then but it's hard to picture Sean just getting fucked up, just because we've seen him fight so many times and no one really ever, even when you have close fights, he's never getting his ass kicked. So I'm excited for that fight. I
think he got knocked out though.
Huh?
Did he get knocked out?
Nah.
By prayer?
No, yeah, he did. Fucking left hook to the chin.
Marvov, I know Marvov beat Kyle Bohaya, but when you look at it, Strickland's already beaten Marvov. Yeah, it was a while ago, but a win's a win. And he just put a beat down and a stoppage on Fluffy, right? Marvov beat Kyle Bohaya by decision. And we all know this sport's about what have you done for me lately. There is a backstory between Chimaev and Sean Strickland. They have trained with one another. There's a bit of shit talk. There's going to be bad blood. We know that the lead up to the fight will be goddamn insane, right? Chimaev doesn't hold back. He talks shit, but in a kind of reserved way, but like he truly believes in himself. And Sean Strickland is just going to go on the full offensive. We know that. He's going to be talking some crazy shit. Dana even joked about it on the little show that we did there. He said they're going to need extra security for that fight during the fight week, leading up to the fight, after the fight, in the fight. It's going to be a mad one because Sean Strickland doesn't hold back. And you know what? Even if you don't like the shit that he says, you have to appreciate the entertainment value that he brings to the table. And then on top of that, the performances inside the octagon. That one against Fluffy, that was a different Sean.
Khamzat Chimaev versus Sean Strickland is one of those fights where no one really agrees on how it will play out. Some are looking at the wrestling and saying it's clear. Others think Strickland can drag it into a different kind of fight. The takes are all over the place, and that's what makes this interesting. So here's what people in the fight world are actually saying and where they think this fight could turn.
And against Chimaev, we've seen him when he has faced adversity, and while he has been able to pass those tests, it still does seem to fatigue him and confuse him when he is in those situations because he's so used to being the hammer and not the nail. Again, I think that from a matchup standpoint, it's going to be really interesting to see, really, like I said, the first couple of minutes of this fight to see if Chimaev is able to implement his game plan. Because if not, I think it's going to be a really interesting fight and a fight that Sean Strickland can win despite the long odds.
Yeah. I mean, there's a possibility Khamzat just goes out there, takes him down and dominates him, right? So we're going to see where he's at. But the other thing with Sean Strickland is he's a pretty big dude. We know Khamzat sort of with cardio-wise, even with DDP towards the end, he was pretty tired, and Sean Strickland's cardio is through the roof, right? Like he's go. And he's going to, if you're standing with him, he's going to take up that octagon. He's going to push you back. He's so tiring to fight against when it comes to everybody in the division, right? It's just hard to fight him. So if it's really going to test Khamzat's cardio, if it's standing for a couple of rounds even, to see where he's at. I feel like it's going to answer a few questions for us if Sean can stop these takes.
Sean O'Malley discussed the gap in grappling when comparing Khamzat Chimaev to Sean Strickland. He pointed out that Strickland has solid defense, and people say he can grapple, but he hasn't really been in there with someone who forces that kind of pressure over and over. He actually questioned whether Khamzat can keep that same pressure going for a full fight, especially if Sean Strickland keeps getting back up. He made a good point here. Taking someone down once is one thing, but doing it again and again when they keep standing back up is what really tires you out.
Yeah. Okay. First title defense against Sean Strickland, who's Has Sean Strickland ever fought a really, really strong wrestler?
I looked through his resume and he has not.
Not really fought a strong wrestler, but he's known for having really good grappling, really good takedown defense. But there's just different fucking levels of grappling, and Khamzat is at the highest level. Like I mean, him and Islam are the two. They're just so dominant in that aspect. Sean Strickland has great cardio. He's gonna show up ready to go. The question is, can Khamzat keep the pace of? He kept the pace against DDP, but he was able to take him down early and literally hold him down the whole time. That is fatiguing. He was able to do that. But what's more fatiguing is taking someone down, they get up. Taking someone down, they get up. You took him off 3-4 times in a round. That's gonna start to wear on Khamzat if Sean can get up, and that's gonna be the question mark there. I feel like Khamzat's going to be able to get a hold of him. He's gonna be able to take him down, but is he gonna be able to do that over and over and over? Is he going to be able to finish him? I don't know.
He even painted a very specific way the fight could go. Early rounds going Khamzat's way with control and damage, then later rounds shifting if Strickland starts reading the shots and defending better. That's where he sees a potential swing, with Strickland turning it into more of a striking fight once the pace slows. He compared it to situations where a high-level grappler comes in and suddenly makes a good fighter look stuck. He clearly leans toward Khamzat getting early success, but he's not fully sold on it being easy the whole way.
Down, but is he going to be able to do that over and over and over? Is he going to be able to finish him? I don't know. I think, what would be absolutely epic is if Khamzat took him down first round, second round, beat his ass a little bit, and then Sean Strickland kind of started stuffing the shots in the third, and then started piecing him up in the fourth. And Strickland got it done. It would be fucking sweet. But we just saw Charles versus Max. Charles dominated. I mean, it's weird when you think of Charles, you don't think of like super great wrestler. A lot of his takedowns kind of come from body locks and trips from the body lock, which is great wrestling. But Max had never really fought like a super high level wrestler. And are we gonna see the same kind of thing play out where Khamzat takes him down and it's kind of the same fucking thing? I don't know. Super excited for that fight. Final prediction. Don't have one because
Paul Felder saw the version of Strickland that people keep talking about. The way he looked in his last fight is what stood out to him. More aggressive, more willing to sit down on shots, and not just that steady jab style. At the same time, he clearly understands what he's up against. He didn't ignore the wrestling problem. He just looked at it like this is the right moment to test it. Strickland coming in with momentum, Khamzat Chimaev staying active, division moving properly, no weird matchmaking.
He looked great. He looked rejuvenated. He came out. He showed that power. He did all the things that we said, if Sean would only do this, and it's all the things that his coaches have been saying, if he would do this like he does in the gym, he's a world beater, and he looked like that. And there's history. He talked all the right shit about Chimaev, and it got him the fight. And I'm also happy to see that Chimaev ready to go, willing to take the fight.
Yep.
Things are in order. The middleweight division moving again, a contender, first a champ at the division. He's not moving up. There's no shenanigans. I was very pleased to see that it's moving that way.
Michael Bisping leaned a bit more into the danger side of it for Strickland. He straight up said it's a tough fight, and you can tell he means that because of what Khamzat brings early. The way he talked about it, he sees the biggest issue being those first rounds. If Khamzat gets him down and settles, that's where things can get bad quick. He pointed out that Strickland is not easy to control, and that part matters a lot here. He's hard to keep down, and he does know how to survive on the ground.
It's a tough fight for Strickland. I'm not going to lie, but he is tough to take down. He's tough to hold down. He does have a ground game, and he's going to talk some shit. And I've heard there's a bunch of Chechens hunting Sean Strickland down in Las Vegas, and he's got to be careful. And I heard Sean like, hey, man, I've got guns. I got guns. You can come to my house, man. Here's the thing, guys. If they come to my house, I got the guns.
I'm almost certain Strickland's going to have a gun with him wherever he is in Vegas, and good luck.
Yeah.
He's going to need it.
He also said that the timing and the effect of the fight for Sean Strickland made sense to him for getting the title shot. Essentially, he looked at it from the perspective that Strickland did more than win. He made it count. He also made it clear that this is a fight that works because of the fighters involved, and it's not a situation with a lot of buildup, since these guys will market it themselves. He also talked about the issue with Khamzat Chimaev and the pressure he brings. So it's all about whether or not Strickland can withstand the wrestling and not let Khamzat settle, or whether he's able to make him work and keep him working.
Messed up to Imavov, look at his resume or whatever. And on every one I responded, hey guys, who was his last loss though? Like, if your last loss is to a guy who's coming off of a performance like that against somebody who we all agreed was one fight away from the title in Fluffy Hernandez, you go out there and finish him like that, jump on the mic. How do you not? Especially for a company starving for an American champion.
He lost to Strickland in 2023, November, to be not January, sorry. So 3 years ago.
I think
he's
I
on a
called that one.
5-fight win streak. And he beat Izzy. That was sensational. Second round knockout, right hand over the top. Against Borralho, impressive victory, but not as good as Sean going out there and beating the brakes and finishing Fluffy. And then on the microphone as well, the way that he acted, then with the backstory and the beef and the way that, these guys are going to shit talk it up. Sean Strickland's not going to back down. People talk about wanting to see rivalries and real characters. Well, my God, you have got it here, 100%. Yeah. But the big question is, can he stop the takedowns? Can he take the shots from Khamzat? Because he's got knockout power as well. He's not just a wrestler.
Luke Thomas looks at this more from the angle of what actually makes a fight matter right now, not just who deserves it. He accepts that someone like Imavov probably earned the shot, but he keeps coming back to the fact that this fight just has more behind it. There's real tension, not something forced, and that changes how people see it. Then he shifts into the matchup itself and starts pointing at Strickland's style, especially the way he defends takedowns. He's not saying that shuts Khamzat down, but he's making it clear that it at least gives him a base to survive early and make things drag out.
I basically agree. I mean, I don't know what the right answer is in this particular equation because somebody's going to get done wrong. And what I mean by that is if they had gone, Danny, with the Imavov fight, okay, did you give it to the guy who done the most work to get the fight? Yes, you did. On the other hand, I think a lot of folks would be saying, well, now what are we going to do with Sean Strickland? And also, are we really going to give up? I mean, there are not that many organic kind of like real feuds in modern MMA or modern UFC. This is an example of one. This is a real feud. The guys used to train together. They have real bad blood. I agree with you. I think that that media week is just going to be ignorant.
Luke also brings up the odds and that gap between them, and you can tell he's not fully buying that it's that one-sided. He still expects Khamzat to be the favorite, but he questions how clean that win would actually look. His main point here is that Strickland isn't an easy style to deal with if the first phase doesn't go Khamzat's way, so his prediction doesn't flip the result, but it shifts how the fight plays out. He's basically saying this could get messy, and that's where it becomes interesting.
Let me check.
Yeah, please do, because I'd be curious to know. I would imagine, Danny, that a guy like Chimaev is going to be the favorite, no matter if it's Imavov or if it's Strickland. But the other problem here is that, like, dude, Strickland's takedown defense, not for nothing, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. And again, is that enough to beat Chimaev? Let's see, what do the odds say?
From our friends at DraftKings, Chimaev minus 410, Strickland plus 320.
Okay. They don't have it that competitive, but this is the problem. I don't think Imavov is more competitive relative to Strickland against Chimaev. Do you agree?
100%.
Danny Segura openly said that this is the better fight, even if it skips the more deserving guy. But he doesn't stop at height. He actually ties it back to the matchup. He explains that if you're choosing what to watch, this is the one people will pay for because it feels bigger and more engaging. Then he connects that to Strickland being the more interesting threat, not just personality-wise, but inside the cage too.
But this is one of those odd cases where merit-wise, I mean, there's no arguing that Nasruddin Imavov deserves the opportunity, but the better fight is Strickland. And if, you know, as a customer, as a fan, just putting my journalist role aside, looking at the fight, like if I had to pay, and again, we're not in pay-per-view era anymore, but if I had to pay $50 to watch Strickland versus Khamzat or Khamzat versus Imavov, I'm paying for the Strickland Khamzat fight. I do think the buildup is going to be a lot more interesting, even though it might get a little weird in some territories. But the fight is interesting. I do think Strickland poses the more interesting threats. And this is all around the bigger fight. And in an era where the UFC has been pretty shitty and the product has been very boring and bland.
He goes deeper into that idea and makes a stronger claim that usually when you skip rankings, you lose quality in the fight. But here, you don't. In his view, you actually gain it. That's the key part of his take. He believes Strickland creates a tougher and more complete challenge for Khamzat compared to Imavov. So even though he still sees Khamzat ahead, he's framing this as a fight where Khamzat has to deal with more layers. James Lynch focused a lot on why the UFC decided to make this fight in the first place. He explained that even though some people felt Nasruddin Imavov deserved the shot more, the UFC clearly looked at the bigger picture. He pointed out that Khamzat Chimaev and Sean Strickland already have a history from training together, and there has been plenty of back and forth between them. Because of that, the buildup almost sells itself. When it came to a prediction, Lynch leaned toward Chimaev winning the fight mainly because of the pressure and wrestling he brings. He said Strickland has proven before that he can pull off surprises, like when he beat Israel Adesanya, but he still felt Chimaev is a tougher matchup overall. The way he explained it, Chimaev's ability to keep forcing takedowns and control positions could slowly wear Strickland down over the rounds. At the end of the day, this fight really comes down to who can force their game first and keep it there. If Khamzat gets those early takedowns and controls the pace, it could look dominant fast. But if Strickland keeps getting back up and drags it into later rounds, that's where things can shift and get uncomfortable. That's why you're seeing so many split opinions on this one. It's not as simple as people think, and one small moment could change everything in there. Let us know in the comments below who you've got winning this fight and how you think it plays out.